Alright then, shorter title card. But I just wanted to make sure that everything was working. It seems to be fine now, fortunately. Right then. So, painting, or art, since this isn't really paint, is it? I have no formal training or casual training. I don't even draw in my free time. But I've always wanted to be able to. I have so many ideas that are trapped in my head and never get to come out. So, basic introduction of how I was introduced to VTubing world is that I was recommended YouTube clips fairly constantly, and I knew that if I clicked on one of them, it would dominate my suggestion feed until the end of time. So I would resist clicking on them for quite a while. I finally gave in, and those were of course Hololive clips. The first one that I actually watched was a Kagura May clip, so not actually Hololive, but Hololive adjacent. So I'm going to be drawing the Hololive English girls in this stream, and I'm going to be using a website called lifedrawing.me/randompose to give me inspiration for how they should be positioned. It gives quite a few factors that you have to consider. And I have one of those wooden dolls that you can pose to help me out because I need all of the assistance that I can get. So, I will be starting very shortly, as soon as I'm able to get a reference set up. Alright, so I'm going to be drawing them in a group shot. All 5 of the English girls. I would like to draw more of my fellow independents. However, Hololive is what got me into this in the first place, so it felt more natural for me to draw that first. I even got a Clip Studio Paint because it was the drawing software recommended by Ina and Iofi during their collab, as well as the drawing software recommended by Hanamakia, who I'm also a big fan of. So then, who will I be drawing first out of the English members? Let me pull up a group shot, and I'll go from left to right. I also got some background music for this, because I figured that just having my voice might be a bit too boring. Alright, so Kiara is first, followed by Callie, then Watson, then Gura, then Ina. So, time to draw Tencho. Let's see. Hopefully I can get a good reference. I just want full body. There we go. It is fairly difficult to get a good picture to use as reference. I am just looking straight off to the side right now, so I'm not moving very much. Let's see. I need to zoom in a bit more. Alright, that's good. This image is a bit low quality, but I will have to make do. So then, I'm also very unfamiliar with this program. I haven't actually used it much at all except for photo editing. So I don't know how layers work. I don't know how most of these tools work or anything like that. I'm just going in blind. Alright, so for the first drawing, the random pose that it will generate, let's see, lying down, on side, leaning back, twisting one arm, extended one hand over the other. Alright then, so I'm going to work on posing this. Lying down is already a bit of a odd situation, because this is a standing doll. Lying down on the side. It also doesn't have great range of motion. Leaning back. Let's see. Alright, so I'm getting the impression that this is sort of a resting one arm on the ground. Yes, I wish this had better range of motion. The joints are a bit tricky. Yes, the shoulder can't raise very high. I think I have to turn it around like that. Yes. Alright then. One arm extended, and one hand over the other. Alright, I'm just about done. The posing doll may honestly be more trouble than it's worth. Alright then. So, I have the first pose figured out. I guess you'll be lying down sort of in front. So then, I'm not entirely sure how the pens work. Do I want to use the real G pen? Is that better than G pen? Does it just increase the brush size? Changes anti-aliasing and scale as well? Very confusing. Wish there was some form of tutorial for this. Well then, I will just get started on the pose. I'd like it to be facing directly at me, so I'm gonna have to angle it slightly. I wonder, do I have anything to prop it up with? Let's try this. I did get a new microphone recently, so I have to reach around it a lot. It's very unfamiliar to me. Alright then. So, the head shape. head here. Let's see. Her head is this sort of shape. A bit wider than that. Too pointy. Yes. I have tried to follow all of the Hololive EN members as closely as possible. Although, as of recent, I have fallen behind. Let's see, can I rotate the canvas? Is that something? It looks like it's this here. Yes. Alright. Yes, I want to be able to draw it as if she was standing upright. So then, let's do that thing that I always see artists do. I have this sort of set up. What I'm assuming is that I draw on a new layer so that I can erase this background item. But I'm not entirely sure how to create a new layer. Can I? No, I can't right click and just do it. There's probably new roster, new vector, new layout full. Oh boy. I'm assuming I want a new raster layer, or maybe a new... Well, I will click on this. Okay, so this is layer 1. Oh, I picked a black. Or I used the picker tool to select the white canvas. Okay, so if I do that, and then I move to the eraser, that'll erase it. And if I move to the new layer, it doesn't erase anything. Okay. I think I'm getting the hang of this then. Okay, so back to layer, or no, I want to be on layer 2. And I want to draw her facial features. I'm probably going to only be doing neutral facial expressions. So, there's some eyebrows. Eyes are a bit further away from the center of her face. Very hard to draw. Let me... Oh, you can really see the pixels here. I wonder if maybe I should have had a higher resolution canvas. That's fine. And then they sort of swoop a bit. The outer eye is a bit more severe in its shape. I should probably use a smaller brush right now. Say size 1. In fact, I should probably do the entire eye in a smaller brush since it's fairly thin. Let's see. Is there a way to make it darker? Just like that. There we go. At this point, I'm not doing too much different from what MS Paint is. Let's try and get smoother edges. Yes, there we go. But I didn't really want it to be that much smoother. Oh well. Alright. It's a very soft inner eye line with a very sharp outer one. Alright, and now pupils. Like this. I should probably have a topic to talk about as well. Oh, she is very cross-eyed like that. Let's see. So if that one's in the center, I guess maybe this one should be a bit more to the side, like that. Alright, let's try and get these skull pupils. Alright. I wish the art that I had was slightly higher quality so that I could zoom in. Alright. Yes, I wish the lines were just a bit harder. I'm just gonna go back in with that. Yes, that's a bit better. Like that. Alright then. And I should also redraw the outline of the head. Let's see. What brush size was it? I think it was 6 before. Oh, but I also definitely don't want it to be that thick. Or that, harsh, rather. I can also make sure that the edges are smoothed out so that it's a bit less jagged. Okay, so now if I hide that layer, that's a bit better. Oh, her eyebrows are very raised. That's fine though. Alright, and her nose is of course the standard 2-pixel dot. So let's just... That's probably even too much. Ah, it was on the wrong layer. Alright, so then let's just... Small line like that. Yeah, that looks almost exactly like it does normally. Okay, harsher line for the mouth. Opacity up. Let's give her a bit of a smirk. She is the type of person that smirks. Alright then. Oh, I keep losing my mouse. It's so small. Alright then. On to hair. It comes down fairly low on her head. Alright, let's see, I'm actually going to put it on another new layer, I think. Let's see, how do I... Is there a fast way to rename these layers? I don't see it. This button? No. How do you rename layers? Well then, I guess no names. Alright. Oh, you know what? I should probably just have a reference not on my on my laptop, but on a second, what is it? Second page, so that I can color pick. Let's see. this is even... This is just a better image anyways. Alright then. Let's... Yeah. New illustration. And I will just get this image over here. I think that's how it works. Oh no, I probably have to download it first. That makes sense. Can't just move it straight over. Right then. There we go. Simple as can be. Right then, so her hair is made up of many, many colors. For now, I'll just do just a color pick from like the center area. Oh, I didn't even need the second one. Alright then. And she doesn't have outlines for her hair really. It's sort of just all the color. I of course know she has the underlight highlights in her hair, the bluish green ones. But I will get to that later. Oh, I just minimized everything. I forgot that this was just on a second window in that screen. Alright then, so... Her hair does a lot of swooshing shapes. One would describe it as feathered, I feel. Which makes sense, given what she is. Right, like that. There we go. Moving out a bit, just to get the full image. Right. One more there before we feather out in the other direction. Let's see, and slightly off of the head. Just keep feathering it. Alright, and it's around, let's see, mid-face here that it starts to turn greenish blue. So then, I will give her hats. I don't want her to feel uncomfortable. Alright, alright. Curving up like this. Like this. There we go. That's a bit better. More towards the center of her head. Alright. And from like here down, it starts to transition colors. So I'll just make a hard line there. And now... Oh, it's a bit lower on this. Okay. Alright, I'll just pick that color. I'm not entirely sure how to blend colors, but I'm assuming that's how it would be done. Alright, well, I will just continue from here. Actually. I guess I will go a bit lower with the color that I had used previously. Let's see. Okay, so feathers out like that. I guess I don't need the hard lines anymore. A bit smaller, thanks. I can just get rid of those. to pen. So you know what? I'm just going to hide the sketch layer. Okay, it looks a bit better like that. Maybe. Let's see, she needs more hair here. So that the sides, yes. Oh, her hair goes far lower than what I drew. Alright, let's just move it down. Yes, like that. So maybe around there. And now, how do I deselect that? I would like to not transform anymore. There we go. Oh no, that just undid it. Alright, back down. Now, transform. Ah, the check mark, of course. Not the X. Alright, so I want to erase the top of her hair that is now in the middle of her face, so that I can move it upwards. As her bangs were far too low there. It goes slightly around the head, like such. Right then. Well, now the hair is at the correct height for it to start transitioning into the bluish green. So I will do that then. Okay, so it feathers out a bit more to around shoulder height. So I'm going to stop with the details and move more into body shape. Alright, let's get back to standard rotation so that I can sort of see how this is supposed to go. Her head's a bit more sideways than I would have liked. Let's see. Looking at my figure. Yeah, I'd like it to be tilted up like a couple more degrees. Can I select all of the layers and rotate them at the same time? No, that's the entire canvas. Let's see. Maybe I should have just done this on MS Paint. It would have been easier. Oh well. Let's just do it one piece at a time then. And hopefully it'll match up well enough. Yes, that's better. Right then, so we have, let's see, back to general outline, bit thicker pen. See, her chin is a bit sharper. I'll fix that, actually. I'll do that now. No point not to. Remove the chin. Increase sharpness. That's too sharp. Alright, I think it's actually the face shape leading up to the chin that is the problem. So I'll work on erasing that. Making it a bit narrower further down her face. let's see. Yes, that's a bit better. Her chin still seems like it's a bit too low. It's not that different. Alright then. Neck and shoulders. So, because of the required position for her to be in. See, her neck is very thin. All of the members have very thin necks. I don't want to draw too much attention to how thin it is, so I'll leave it fairly short. As for the pose, her shoulder should go out a bit in each direction. She is laying on her side, so they're sort of asymmetrically aligned. And this arm sort of comes out like that. And since it is approaching the foreground, let's see. Ugh. I probably should have just done them standing straight for my first drawing attempt, because this is chaotic. Okay. I want this to be straight at me, so let's see. The forearm straight at me. There we go. Let's see. Let's position it straight ahead of me. I have it slightly off to the side, but I need it here for perspective's sake. All right. Okay, so let's see, let me just get the general body shape in and not worry about how the arms are positioned right now. So then, from the neck, let's see. So the neck sort of actually comes out at a bit of a flatter angle as compared to everything else. So the neck sort of does this. And the shoulders and chest sort of do this motion. Shoulder wouldn't be that sharp. Smooth it out. And then it reaches the waist, which curves back up like this. And her form is very narrow-waisted, so probably even more like this. That's the hip line there. Let's see. Now the legs are on top of each other. Let's see. Yes, I can pose it so that one of the feet is slightly behind the other. Hips should be a bit wider here. If nothing else but to give me more room for the legs. So remove previous lines. Right, now I can add in the legs. Oh. I said I was going to finish this today, but I'm starting to think that probably wasn't the best idea. Alright, so this leg is just full straight, and then we reach the foot. Which is facing straight towards the viewer. Alright, and the second leg, let's see, there is a straight gap here, and then when it reaches the knee, it moves behind the other leg, with the knee pointed slightly upwards. A bit narrower than that. And you can sort of see the other foot behind the first one. Okay. And as for arms, the first one comes out laying flat against the ground. So, from the shoulder joint, like that, and the hand comes straight towards the viewer, so let's see then. At this sort of angle. It's not that long. So, like this. And like this. Let's see. The effective foreshortening, things get larger the closer they are to the screen. So, like this, and then this. Yes, I think. And for the, let's see. She has the puffy sleeves. The one that the image I have doesn't really show it quite that well. But, let's see. Yeah, so if I zoom here and just take a look at my reference. So the puffy sleeves sort of covers a lot of it, so I'm just going to erase the covered portion of the arm there. And now the puffiness can also conceal the sort of awkward size increase. So then the sleeve close, there's a band that sort of cinches it a bit tighter. Alright then. Tighten the sleeve like that. Oh, but that's facing flat downwards. It should be facing towards. I need to undo all of that. The sleeve cinches like this, which means I will have to draw her hand to some degree. Let's see, zoom in on that a bit. I want to be able to be a bit more detailed about this. See, like that. And then it closes again on this side. Alright, back to the eraser. I want to drop the brush size down a bit so that I can clean up all these. Cut this out so that it can look like the sleeve is cinching in a bit. Alright, and since I'm very much not an artist, I will leave the hands for later. Yes, it does come to around mid-arm on the reference that I'm using. So then the other arm comes straight out. Alright, let's actually start where the hand is. So let's see, what is this layer? Alright, that's her full body. That's her hair. So I'm going to make a new layer that is just arm. Alright then, so first we have the hand. Let's see, I'm going to lower the opacity of this back one a bit so that I have a bit more reference. So the hand will just be... Oh. Let's see, so back to this layer. Yeah, so the hand will just be this sort of shape for now, which is connected to the wrist, which is inside the cinched sleeves. Which connects to her arm, which is going upwards like this. And that's her elbow there. Her elbow is going to be a bit higher, which then connects back like this. There we go. Alright. So I need these perspective lines. So that one's going to be a bit wider. Since they're connecting to an object in the back, you need to narrow. Let's see, what does the other side look like? Okay, so it's a bit of a wider cuff, and it's past her elbow. So that would be around here then. Let's see. I'm just gonna make a note of that on this layer, so that's where the sleeve is there. Alright, and just end the shoulder like that. Connect it to the body there. Alright then. That's the wrist. Okay then, so I need to erase the background on this layer. So erase what will be covered. So that's this portion here, as well as this portion here. Okay then. Now let's bring back up the opacity and see that it still looks like an absolute mess, but something. Right then, let's just have the same sort of situation with the flat hand coming out of this sleeve. Alright, so let's see, the prompt was laying down, on side, leaning back, twisting one arm, extended one hand over the other. So we've got that done. We've got that. I think the pose is just about done, and I need to be working on the hair. Or not just the hair, but the details now. Also, since she's laying down, her hair should actually be falling a bit more. Of course, there is some level of sticking in place that happens, but let's get back to the hair layer, which was, no, which one was it? This one. Okay, back to the color pick. Let's see, what size was this? This was like size, what, 1? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to erase this bit of hair so that it can be falling a bit more naturally, as well as the lower portion on this side as well. Also, she has a choker. We'll get to that in a second. Alright, so like this, and like this. Feathers back in. Let's see. I also do want to... Let's see. Yeah, there. And that can be hidden behind the shoulders there. And the hair on this side. It doesn't go too far past her shoulders. So... Let's see. I should probably switch to the blue-green of the rest of her hair. Although it is tipped orange, so like that. So let me get the orange tip in. There we go. And I can just start coloring the hair now at this point. So this would probably be a tool for the fill brush, but I didn't close all of the lines, and I'm not confident in that. So I'm just going to use a wide brush. Oops, that's a bit too far out. Like this. And I should probably also do this on another new layer, because I should keep some hair outline as well. Maybe just a darker shade. Let's see how... I know there's probably a way to, like, just slightly increase the darkness of this color, but I'm not entirely sure how. Maybe I can just try and pick a slightly darker shade on the reference image, like this. Let's see. Let's grab that slightly darker color there. Smaller brush. And get those lines in a darker shade. And yes, I will. This is not how you use layers, is it? Let's undo that. Okay. So this whole thing should have been darker so that the inside layer can be lighter. So let's get to work on that. And I'll do that in a new layer. I do wish... Why is there no way to name these? As far as I can tell. Of course, I'm sure there is a way. I just can't find it. Change palette color. I don't even... Ugh. I'm trying everything. I'm double clicking. Right click just gives me a list of actions that none of which are rename. Let's see, is it here? Quick access. No. Nope. None of this is what I want. I guess I'll just never be able to find the layers without removing and replacing them. Alright, new layer time. Let's see, so that's layer 5. And layer 3 is the hair. So once again, I will lower the opacity just enough so that I can still see it. And now, on this new layer with the slightly darker brush, I will go over all of the lines. This is a bit of a tedious process. Hopefully not entirely boring. There is no one watching right now, so that's not entirely a concern. Still slightly worrying. I would like to be consistently entertaining, of course. There we go, like that. Alright. Let's get that tip there. Alright. So, now, if I go back to this layer, and pop the opacity back to where it was. Alright, let's actually hide everything except for the new hair, so that I can get the details in well. I can erase the extra lines. Try and connect it a bit better. There we go, like that, like that. Alright. Oh yeah, that line's a bit messy there, so I can trim that down. And re-emphasize it, like that. Close some lines, why not? Alright, now everything can come back, except for that layer. This layer can actually just go. I don't need that anymore, I think. I don't know how to get rid of it though. Delete layer, there we are. Okay then. So that's the new hair layer, and this is the old hair layer. Alright, I can delete the old hair layer as well. Actually, I can just erase everything on it. Yeah. Okay. So then, and I can reuse it for the hair coloring. Alright, so I'm going to want a slightly larger brush. There we go. And the lighter hair color. Yes. There we go. Let's see. I always see artists coloring outside of the lines. when they do this, and it's always just covered up. I have no idea how that specifically works. I'm going to try and do that as little as possible. Let's see. And I can just go back and cover it up, or erase the things that escape the lines. Bit of touch-up work. I'll probably do that touch-up off-stream in my own time, since it doesn't seem like it would be too interesting. Like this. Let's see. Let's see, what is this? This is the arm. This is everything else. So can I move that layer in front? Ah. I see the problem that causes. Okay, so literally everything should be on its own layer. Because I want the eyebrows to be in front, but the head to be in back. Let's see, I am learning about art though. That is good. Well then, if I can just draw in the eyebrows on the hair layer. I'll do it on this hair layer too, on the outline hair. So then that was, what, size 10 brush? No, much smaller. Size 7? No, still too big. Size 5, that's about right. Oh, too opaque. Slightly softer. Like that. Okay. So, now the head. Oh, which one's the head? Okay, so that's the hair details. That's the entire body, so that can go behind the hair layer. Okay. And I've got the outlines, which I will erase the edges of so that it looks neater. And now we have the lower hair. So it'll still be... which one's the lighter orange? I think it's this one. Yes. Okay. So I can keep the lighter orange. I do want harsher edges though. So it goes up against that. The lighter orange. Just like that. Up and around the neck area. Let's see, how far down is it light orange though? Probably to around here. And then I'm also going to want to... So it's actually a line like this sort of thing. So probably to around here. So I'm going to change that to the light greenish blue color. And it's up like... Ooh, what layer am I on right now? Darn it. I think I've been drawing on the wrong layer. Yep. That's part of her body and skin. Okay. Let's undo all of this then. Let's redo that. Oh, what is redo? Control Y. Okay. So, I went one step too far back. Alright, which layer is this? This is outline. Which layer is this? Hair. Okay, good. So staying on hair, I can return to pen. This is the point at which hair becomes light blue. Oop. I don't want too much on top of the body because there's not much I can do with that. With the layers that I have. Okay, so I'm gonna make this all teal for now, and then I can blend it back into orange because it sort of gradients backwards at the bottom. Okay, I need to be making shorter lines. Because that makes undoing a lot easier and a lot less wasteful. Let's see. I have, in fact, done fan art for Kiara once before, just once, and it was on my phone, and I drew it with my fingers. So it obviously didn't look very good, but I did it more of a joke than anything. Right, let's pick this color back. It was when she was asking for submissions for Mario 64 thumbnails. So I drew one on a whim as a funny gaffe. Clearly I didn't get selected. I just thought it was funny. Alright then, so I want a slightly darker shade of this. So if I color pick this, can I open like a color wheel or something? Increase the saturation a bit? No? Is there... Let's see. If I select this... No, that doesn't do anything. Where do I select? Ooh, here's the blend, so... Yeah, so that blends things together. I don't want to do that just yet. But I will eventually. So where do I edit colors? Is it this? No. I feel like it would have to be on the left side here. So back into pen. Tool properties, brush size. There we go. There's color wheel, there's RGB, color set. Let's see. So I think I just want to like go to the corner there so that I can get a slightly harsher brush. That's a bit too harsh. Back up a bit more. Yes, that is a slightly more natural color for it. Okay, so then like this. Oh, right, I'm still on the interior hair layer. I can switch to the exterior hair layer? Yes, right here. Oh, brush is too thick though. Exterior hair layer to get this sort of in between feathering line like that. It still feels a bit too chunky. There we go. That's a bit better. Oh, that's too large. And then I can do this. So that the feathering line is a bit more specific. And then back up like that. There we go. Back to the hair coloring layer. I can erase that little bit that ended up on the outside. Alright, now I'm doing touching up later. Okay, so that's the slightly darker version. Let's see, back to the saved ones. Pick this. Actually, let's do the tip of the hair first. Just because Ugh. I really didn't want to do this pixel by pixel. That's more of a paint thing. MS Paint thing. Alright. And I can peel that. Oh, her earrings. Those will be on a new layer as well. Or not her earrings, her feathers, sorry. She doesn't wear earrings. Or no, she does. She has studs, I think. Ugh, I just want to clean this up. It's fine. I'll do it now. Nobody's watching anyways. I just don't like how it looks. Just to have big extra blobs hanging around the sides. There we go, there we go. I'm always incredibly jealous of artists. What must it be like to be able to create whatever you can imagine? Art is basically just a form of magic, if you think about it. Really, really high level. High level creation magic. Okay, I'm gonna have to erase some of the head layer. You know what, I can actually just erase all of it, since it's supposed to be behind the hair anyways. A bit too much was erased there. Alright. Well, once I'm done with Kiara here, in fact, I think I might stop now. Or not now, but once I've finished the details that I want. I'm going to get the poses for the rest of the members. And then I'm going to sort of like rough them in with no details. And then save and exit. Because I don't know why, but I felt like this would take a lot less time than it actually did. Maybe because my art's just, you know, not all there. I thought it would take me less time rather than more. Alright. Just take a look at the full image. Yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. I figured it would be far worse. Well then, let's just... There's the main head layer. Let's hide the hair and hair details. Like that. I can just get rid of the top of her head. Right, with a slightly bigger eraser, thank you. Because that's all covered in hair. So, I make everything visible again. Yeah, I didn't cut out anything important. Alright. Now, I should draw in her ears. No, but like I said, details, no more details. I'm going to get the rest of the poses for the Hololive members. But first, I should put in text on each of them. Oh, I don't want it to be that color. let's see, or this size. Can I make it smaller? There we go. Oh, bit bigger, thanks. All right, I'm just gonna delete that. Try again. It just likes defaulting to that color, huh? All right, so back to black. Kiara. Okay, so now I'll just copy and paste the prompt for her position. Yes, that's what I was worried about. Okay. So, let's... Okay, you can't change the size after you've already done it, or should I highlight it all and now drop down the size? There we go, that's better. Oh, don't want to move the entire canvas, just this. Okay, so is there a way for me to just like save that? I guess it will automatically when I create new text. All right, next pose for Callie. Standing, supported by an object with a pole and twisting a bit. Arms twisted, one hand clenched, eyes wide. That last one's easy. That's her default facial expression. Okay. Standing supported by an object, so she's going to be on the side then. Probably leaning against a wall. Twisting a bit. So I guess her legs are... like her legs and lower back will be flat against the wall, and her upper torso will be sort of twisted slightly towards the camera. Okay. So... Callie. Let's paste that. Control V. Select it all. Drop down the size. Move that up and to the left. All right then, let's rough in a wall. Okay, let's just create a new layer then. New raster. This one. Oh, those are just layers. Wait, what? Okay. So this will be the background layer, so it's all the way in the back. So... okay. So Kiara's laying on the ground. She'll be right next to the wall. Wall will be going... No, that's... that angle isn't right. Okay, so... oh. Oh, right. She's not a solid being. So the interior of her face will, huh. Okay, so... I'm just trying to envision, like, they are standing in an alleyway, so the entrance to the alley is, like, here. walls are like that. So then this will go off at the same angle. Let's just go through Kiara's head. Okay, there we go. Alright. Let's see, Callie will be standing directly behind her. Okay, wait. So I can just set this as background layer and forget about it. Because I don't need any more detail really on the background layer. Oh, these don't match up at all. Alright. It comes to around here then. Around there. And it comes out diagonally. Like around here. Okay. So her head is actually just leaning against the wall like this. So that's fine, I guess. Okay, so Callie... No. Okay. I'm just going to rough in clothes. So, skirt starts around here. Nope, this is the background layer. Okay. I think I'm just gonna save. Save as Hello Myth. Group shot. Okay. Save that. I'll come back to it another day. I've already been streaming for an hour and a half at this point, so I think it's time to call it here. Thank you everyone, every none, every no one for showing up. And I will see none of you later. Enjoy your lives.